this show was called Married at First Sight, but I don't think I really understood.
Whatever. I don't like this show at all. Let's keep going. Can I watch more?
I'm not going to do that for a television show. Sorry.
From news.com.au. I've got news for you.
Well, it's been called trash, degrading, absolutely appalling, and was last year voted as the worst show on TV. But despite all of that, viewers just absolutely love Married at First Sight. It's one of the highest rating shows on Aussie TV each year, and yet another season is about to kick off. Today, we'll get an ex-contestant to reveal some behind-the-scenes secrets about the reality show, including how much money they get paid.
You don't get paid at all. This is a thing that needs to change. Well, they give you an allowance to live off, but they don't pay you.
News.com.au's James Weir will reflect on the most disturbing moments from the past 8 seasons of MAFS, and we'll also take a look at the worst reality TV shows that have ever been made, including the infamous There's Something About Miriam.
I'm not a woman. I was born as a man.
Mikey Pembroke appeared on season 7 of Married at First Sight back in 2020. Now, his relationship with his bride didn't work out. They exited the show after just 3 weeks. Mikey, thanks for coming on. I've got news for you.
No worries, mate. All good. Here to help.
All right, so tell me, what made you want to go on a show like MAFS?
It was sort of why not, rather than why. I suppose I was, late 20s. I did really think that, there was a small chance that, you could end up with the person that was right for you. I hadn't found the person yet. So I sort of threw my hat in the ring. I knew that the chances were there's going to be a lot of drama, but I thought I could handle that. But yeah, it ended up being a bit of a I don't know if I can swear on the show,
can.
But it's shit show. It ended up being a bit of a shit show, wanting drama, and I was out of there within like 2 weeks of filming.
All right, so talk to me about the tests that you have to go through before joining the show. I'm assuming there are psych evaluations?
No psych evaluations.
Oh.
You basically just fill out a form in regards to, your previous life, what you've been up to, what you've done, so they get a bit of an understanding. But that's something they should definitely do. But then you wouldn't get the characters, so probably big boring TV, and they wouldn't get the ratings. So yeah, mate, it was interesting. It's just a form online, but I never finished my form. I just sort of got a few questions. It was too long, and so then they just contacted me. It was an interview over Skype, interview in person, and that was it. Off you went. You got the call that you're in it, and then they do a bit of a backstory with you in terms of filming you at work, etc. Trying to pigeonhole you a bit so people can understand what you're about, and off you go up on the aisle.
I am assuming that during the casting process you had to tell them what sort of women you're interested in. Do you feel like they actually listened to you, or they just matched you with someone?
No. They didn't listen to me at all, and I have no problems being honest about this because I knew that I thought they'd pick some sort of qualities that I would like and then other qualities that I would struggle with. So there's sort of a love-hate, you can understand. So they'd have some sort of argument to say, oh, but you asked for this, that's what we gave you. But they didn't do that. And I knew straight away, walking up the aisle, and complete respect to who they partnered me up with. But yeah, we were definitely not going to ever match.
This is a question we always get here at news.com.au, so I'm going to put it to you. How much do you get paid to be on MAFS?
You don't get paid at all. This is a thing that needs to change. Well, they give you an allowance to live off, but they don't pay you. So you don't actually have to claim it as tax. So it's not pay, it's an allowance to live off during the week while you're filming. It's just, from when we did it was about $1,000. But given the show makes an incredible amount of money, just like say a TV show. So if you're on, a TV show that's really well, the actors get paid more and more and more because it does really well, right? That's the way it should be for MAFS. At the end of the day, we're the stars are the ones, or the reality stars. I don't know if you'd call them stars. people on the show, they're the ones that are putting themselves out there. They're the ones that get the backlash. And then the channel makes millions and millions of dollars through advertising. And this is one of my pet hates with it. It actually does. Like, it's a leading show in Australia.
Yeah.
Those advertisements, they would be paying massively. And the guys and the girls on the show are only getting they're getting nothing. They're getting allowance to make sure they live throughout the time. They're giving up their jobs. They're putting themselves right out there. And most people look at MAFS. It's like how they look at real estate agents. They just roll their eyes when they say you've been on the show. And a lot of these people don't know what they're getting themselves into. They get nothing for it. But the thing is, I think they do have power. If they say, I want more. What they do is they just pick someone else who do it for less. But when you're in the show, so for example, when I flew to, I got off the show early. There was obviously a bit of controversy around my tenure on the show. Anyway, I went over to Italy, and they wanted me back. Now, I could have probably played them to get paid serious money from them for coming back. I didn't know at the time, and I probably could have flown first class, asked for 20, 30, 40K, and I reckon they would have done it for sure.
All right.
But, they were desperate to get me back for the reunion. Now, if it was to future stars out there, I would definitely play that card. It's pretty hard to play at the start because, they'll just kick you out and find someone else. But otherwise, they're trying to make you do things against your will. Put a price to it.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a price. Put a price to it.
Once you're on the show, what's the filming like? Are you followed by cameras 24/7?
No, you're not filming like you get your brief sort of the day before. They really try to surprise you. They want natural reactions, so they don't really give you a full outlay of what's going on and what's happening. What they do though is they will put you in uncomfortable situations. So before you film, they might leave you. So we filmed at a warehouse. I didn't know what time I was getting on cameras. I didn't know who I was seeing. I was kept in a room with like some treats and water, no air conditioning. So they put you in situations where you're already a bit riled up. You're already a bit uncomfortable. You're not happy. So you may be sitting in a waiting room for 6 hours. Then you get a call. Okay, you're going on camera now. Bang. So you could imagine what kind of mood someone's in if they've just been sitting in a room by themselves with not knowing what's going on. And at the end of the day, they do want drama. Like we were told multiple times, they'd stop filming and, the producers would come in and say, guys, nothing's happening here. What are you guys doing? This is not how you would act in real life.
All right.
So they do really want that. They do anything for that drama.
Well, speaking of the drama, we've heard past contestants say that producers encouraged them to have affairs, to hook up with people that they weren't matched with. Was that your experience?
No, it wasn't my experience. It wasn't my experience at all because what they don't like, right? Because a lot of the affairs, a lot of the things that go on were behind camera on my season. They didn't like that because they need to film it so the audience can understand the journey. If you just come back and then these guys two hooked up, but you have no context of how they hooked up, it doesn't make any sense. So if you went to the producers and say, hey, I'm into this girl, I'm sure they'd film it and agree with it. But with some of the things that were happening on our season was behind the scenes. They're like, no, we don't want that because it's confusing the storylines.
The dinner parties, for those who haven't seen MAFS, is where all the contestants get together. They have a big meal, a lot of drinks. Usually there's a lot of fights that happen. How long do those dinner parties take to film?
Mate, I've got home. I've left the building in the city to film, and this place was just maybe 20 minutes away. We started filming sometimes at 6 a.m. with outfits. What do we expect at the dinner party? Who we're going to have a go at? What's going on? And then get to the actual warehouse where we film around sort of 2, 3 in the afternoon, and then literally get home at 5 a.m.
Whoa.
So you're talking about 12-hour shoots within the whole thing. As I said, that you'll be in waiting rooms, you'll be brought in, you'll be brought out, they'll interview you. And, these things, it's massive efforts considering a lot of these people, they're not used to shoots at all. Well, I wasn't. I wasn't an actor, and I also wasn't like a model. So, you can understand at 3 a.m. why people are going off at each other. The food, there's not that much food.
Is that right?
But then again, you don't really want to eat on camera anyway at the start, and so by the end of it, you're sort of like, there's not much there. And then when it starts to die down, that's the only time they really stop filming. It's really up to us. Like when the drama stops, or maybe when it gets too much, they stop filming. And they don't let you drink too much either. People think, they just get them drunk. They don't do that because people can't articulate the way they feel when they're drunk, and it's not good TV. People are slurring. It makes no sense. So a lot of people go, oh yeah, do they get you drunk? Do they get you smashed? I'm like, no. I was actually cut off from drinking a few times.
Oh, is that right?
So the other cast members, because they're all happy for you to have, 1 or 2 or 3 drinks. But they don't want you to get shit-faced. But another thing as well, they encourage, the people going on the show are adults. They do encourage you. They do encourage drama. Like I'm sure a lot of TV shows do, reality TV, because that's why a lot of people watch. But they don't make you do things against your will.
Right.
These people aren't going on the show. They're not 16. They're not 15. They're not a vulnerable persons. They can lead a horse to water, but they're not making you drink. So, it is people that make their decisions. It's just people find it very hard to understand what the situations are going to be before they put themselves in it. And then usually it's too late. It's too late by the time they're in there with some of the actions they take.
Having been on the show, can you watch it now?
I haven't watched, and literally haven't watched much of it at all, just because it's just not a genuine show. You know, it's not a genuine. Look at the success rate. I think 2 couples off 10 seasons or something. You'd have better luck if you were vegan finding your partner at a butcher store. Like literally, that's how bad the success rate is. And you know, but you know, and I now that I know what it's like from behind it, I don't buy into it, and I think it's getting worse and worse and worse. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the cameras. I'm not going to pretend I just went on there for love. I knew that there was and I was sort of at a stage in my life where I was like, you know, why not? What else you got to lose? People go, what about your image? I'm like, what image?
Yeah.
No one knows who I am. I don't care. And then you do get forgotten about. Like when the show goes off, you know, 6 months there, it's pretty like smacked. But then before you know it, yesterday's news and you get on with your life. And that's probably why I don't regret it. But it's something that I don't buy into anymore because it's not genuine. And I think they're trying to change it every year. It's got a sort of a different direction, and it'll be interesting to see what they do this year.
Joining me now is news.com.au's James Weir. He has built up a massive following over the years by recapping Married at First Sight. So much so that people actually just read his recaps and don't even watch the show, which I'm sure Channel 9 just adore. James, another season of MAFS is about to kick off. How do you feel when this time of year rolls around?
Bucklow, chills, heart palpitations, the RSI and my wrist flares up because I usually start scrolling through LinkedIn for other job opportunities. It's a really interesting time of year.
Yeah, it sounds like you really love your job. Okay, talk to me about recapping the show. How does it work? Like, do you get the episodes in advance or do you just watch it live?
Sometimes I don't even watch them at all and I just write what I want. And you know what? Most people don't even notice.
Yeah.
If I am lucky, I'll get the episode ahead of time, sometimes a day in advance, sometimes a few hours, sometimes it's just rolling out on the screen. And I think, you know, you and I have worked in the same office for a number of years. You see how seriously I take it. You know, it's a 2-screen operation. I've got my legal pads out, just reams of paper as I you know, jot down notes in freehand. And, you know, as I always say, if you want to think like them, you got to drink like them, you know? So, you know, sometimes if you're talking to an Irish person and you take on their accent and you're cringing at yourself, but you can't stop it. I'm the same. I really get into the headspace of Married at First Sight contestants. I'm glassing people in restaurants. I'm driving cars off roads. I'm stealing people's husbands. You know, I think that it adds a touch of authenticity to the recaps, if you will.
Well, it's a commitment to the job, and I totally admire it. Obviously, they're a hit with the public. They get hundreds and thousands, if not millions of views each time you publish one. But I'm wondering, what do the contestants think of these recaps? Do you ever hear from them?
They adore them. They adore them, some more than others. I think the ones who do like them, maybe I wonder whether they read them properly.
Yeah, right.
Whether they really understand them. Other people, you know, you'll often get an email maybe at 3 a.m. I call them the dark nights of the soul, where it's kind of, they've kind of watched it themselves play out on screen, and then they've, you know, it's one thing to hear your own words like said back to you on screen. It's another thing to read them in text.
They never come up well in a quote, do they?
They never do. And if you've ever done that, like if you've ever spoken in public and then someone's quoted you in a story and you read back and you go, God, I sounded like an idiot. Who is that? That's how I think a lot of these people feel. I think the thing that really cuts to the bone for them, though, is when they get turned into a meme.
Right.
You know? But really, I just think that's really the pinnacle for a MAFS contestant. If you've become a meme celebrity, that's one for the resume.
Yeah, you've made an imprint on social culture. Okay, you've watched all 9 seasons of the show. I feel for you. There have been so many shocking moments over the years. Give me 3 of the most disturbing.
The one that instantly comes to mind is toilet toothbrushes.
Okay, what happened there?
It really, the name says it all. Her husband really didn't like his wife's bathroom hygiene, so he decided to use her toothbrush to scrub the toilet.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's changed the way I brush my teeth forever. And makes me I haven't been in a long-term relationship since that episode. I'm thinking maybe that has something to do with it. It's brought up trust issues for me. I always think if I ever got into a relationship, I would need to just do like single-use toothbrushes because I could never trust my partner now.
Disposable ones.
Disposable toothbrushes.
Did she know that he'd done it? Like, did she use the toothbrush after the incident?
Yes, for many days afterwards, and it only really came to light because he decided to record himself on his phone doing it and then send it to the boys.
Oh.
And look, video footage tends to circulate in the Married at First Sight universe.
So he got busted.
So that was the toilet toothbrush. That's really probably the most shocking. The other one would be the C-word scandals with Innes. You know, her husband got so fed up with the way she was treating him that he called her a C-word. And then the experts piled on him for using the C word, and then because they thought, the Australian public is not going to like that a woman got called the C word.
Yeah.
Oh, the script got flipped like a Bugs Bunny cartoon, and all of a sudden Australia was like, no, she was a C word. The experts got it wrong. You know, only in Australia will we endorse the primetime labelling of someone as a C word. And I was thinking, you know, about maybe the big third scandal. I was going to say cheating, but really that's part and parcel for this show.
100%.
It's not shocking anymore.
Yeah.
I think one of the most shocking things, almost eyebrow-raising things about this show really happens off the screen, and we've seen it in the last 2 years where, you know, the contestants on all reality shows, you usually see them embrace their newfound public profile, and they do a bit of a career pivot and become an influencer. On Married at First Sight, they don't just want to be plugging away like teeth whitening lasers on Instagram, you know, off-brand veneers. They're not about that. It's all about OnlyFans now. That's the big career pivot. We've got Jessica Power, Michelle Caron, who on some tabloid websites they've labelled now porn gran, which really, when I come into my twilight years, that's how I want people to know me.
Yeah, she'd be what, in her 50s or something?
Yeah. You know, yeah. And then Jessica Power's brother, who appeared in the first episode of like when she got married. Do you remember her hot brother Reese?
Yes.
Reese, and Australia went nuts for him because he was so hot. He had the neck tattoo. He's on OnlyFans now. You should check his Twitter out. All of them, they've got Twitter where they post little sizzle reels of what you might be able to find on their OnlyFans. I feel like I know them intimately than I ever wished to. Hayley Vernon's also got one, and they all keep bragging about how like, put down another deposit on an investment property after 2 months on OnlyFans. You know, it's really made me consider.
You're gonna do it.
Maybe look, maybe I'd do it two ways. I think if I signed up for OnlyFans, it would work a little bit different for me, where fans would pay me to put more clothes on. And on OnlyFans, if you don't know how it works, you pay your fee and then you can tip them to do things. So, like, I think I'd be getting tips from people saying, like, put on another cardigan.
Do we know on these OnlyFans, are they doing full nude gear?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Porn Grand goes there.
Oh my God.
There's like, I mean, it would be, look, for this PG podcast, Bucklow, it's such a highbrow thing that you've started here. I wouldn't want to bring it down to the gutter. But everything, things that you never thought you would want to see and probably don't, you will find on OnlyFans. But, you know, they've also, I even thought, for my own OnlyFans, I could recap the MAFS OnlyFans and get a bit of picture-in-picture action going.
Kind of like a Celeste Barber doing the celebrity post, but you doing the MAFS OnlyFans ones.
Well, no, because that would require, for me to Celeste Barber the MAFS contestants, it would require me doing the same things that they're doing.
Maybe this is all a ploy just for me to see you doing weird things with a toothbrush.
Yes. And you know what? I will make you pay the $5 subscription fee.
Well, James, good luck recapping this year. I hope there are plenty of scandals for you, and don't drink too much.
Thank you. I'll catch you on OnlyFans.
Alrighty, here to run us through the most shocking reality TV shows ever made is news.com.au entertainment reporter Bronte Coy. Bronte, what are we kicking it off with?
Oh, there's so many to choose from here, but first one is a show from the UK called Shattered. Now, this one aired in 2004, and the premise was pretty simple, Bucky. 10 contestants were challenged to go without sleep for 7 days.
Oh,
absolute
God.
nightmare.
No thanks.
The pun. If at any stage they closed their eyes for more than 10 seconds, they were eliminated from the show. Each day, one contestant was picked for a you snooze, you lose challenge, where they'd have to do an activity that induced sleep, such as a facial massage or listening to a bedtime story. I fall asleep in a cinema, so I mean, honestly. In the end, the show was won by a 19-year-old woman who stayed awake for 178 hours. I wonder if they drug test them.
Yeah, that is just so brutal. I cannot imagine going on a show like that. Also, it doesn't actually sound very interesting to watch. Anyway, let's move on. What's another effed up reality show, Bronte?
There was a show from the US called, wait for it, Who's Your Daddy? Basically, this woman who'd been put up for adoption as a kid met with 8 different men and had to guess which one was her dad.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. If she guessed correctly, she'd get $100,000 in prize money. But if not, the man she picked would get the money and she'd get nothing, not even a family, it seems. There was a happy ending, though. The woman did actually pick her real dad and they had a heartwarming reunion.
There wasn't a day that went by that I didn't think about you and regret what we did. I started looking for you because, well...
I looked for you too. I did.
Well, you found me.
Oh, well, I am thrilled that they eventually found each other, but who's your daddy? I don't know, it just kind of feels a little bit sexual, the name of that show. Maybe Finding Your Father would have been a little bit better. Anyway, let's move on. What's another reality show that should never have got made?
Okay, so there was a show called Playing It Straight, which had versions in the US, UK, and even Australia. Oh. There you go. Basically, a woman had to spend time with a group of men, some of whom were straight, some were gay. She'd go on dates with them all and would have to figure out who was gay and vote them out. At the end of the show, she'd pick one man. Okay, so if he was straight, they'd share $1 million in prize money. Oh. But if she picked a gay man, he'd get to keep all the cash.
Yes, go gays.
So look, this is absolutely wild. So I'll give you a taste. Here's what happened on the UK version after the woman booted one of her suitors.
I've got to do this. I have to know, are you gay or are you straight?
Yeah, you've made a mistake. I'm straight.
Okay.
All right, babe.
Sucked into her, picking a straight guy thinking he was gay. I mean, that's a bit of a blow to his confidence, you'd imagine. All right, we're running out of time here, Bronte. Hit me with the most shocking reality TV show of all time. What is it?
All right, well, you probably remember this one. That would have to be There's Something About Miriam. So this aired in the early 2000s. It's so infamous now. It was kind of like The Bachelorette, but honestly much worse. 6 men from the UK had to try and capture the heart of a Mexican model named Miriam. But here's the twist. They didn't know Miriam was a transgender woman. That was only revealed to them in the final episode.
I'm not a woman. I was born as a man.
Is there anything you'd like to ask Miriam, Tom?
Well, I'm obviously shocked, as you can guess, so I don't know, really. I'm kind of lost for words.
Honestly, the whole concept of that show is so offensive, Bronte. Like, I can't even believe it got made.
I can't believe it was made so recently. Like, it was in the early 2000s. It's absolutely wild.
Well, there's something about Bronte, and I don't know what it is, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Thanks for coming on the show. Well, thanks for listening to I've Got News for You. Now, just a reminder, make sure you check out James Weir's Married at First Sight recaps on news.com.au. I promise you, they're better than the show itself. Trust me.
Search for I've Got News for You wherever you get your podcasts.